Okay, here's a story for you. A week ago today I went to Europe. I was meeting my brother Sean had to be in Oslo for some meetings and he was going to Italy. And so my son Tyson was going through Paris and then I thought, heck, I'll go. I was sightseeing in Lisbon first before we all met in Genoa. Then after seeing all the Genoa stuff, my brother had to go down the coast for some business meetings, so my son and I took the train from Genoa to Florence. It was a really good train ride. We had a lot of time to talk, just 3 hours uninterrupted, just he and I, just chatting on the train. It was really great. And we weren't really paying attention, but all of a sudden, before we knew it, it went by so quickly and we were in Florence. And so he looks out the window of the train, he says, "Hey, we're in Florence." And I looked outside and I'm like, this doesn't look like Florence. I'd only been to the city one time before, but I'll never forget what that city's like because it was my first time going to Italy like 11, 12 years ago. My wife and I took an overnight train from Paris into Italy, and we woke up. It was in Florence, and I'll never forget the feeling of coming into that train station and what it looked like and what it felt like my first trip to Italy. But this stop said Florence, and so my son said, "I think this is it." And I looked, I said, "It doesn't look like it." And I knew, like in my gut, I knew that that was not like the Florence, the end of the line Florence where you go. It was like a northern part of the city or something. But for some reason, I just thought, hey, I'm gonna get off anyway. Even though I knew it really wasn't the right stop, it just didn't look right, I still got off the train. And then my son said, "Yeah, I think we might have got off one side too slow, or one stop early." I said, "Yeah, well, let's just find someone and check. I'm sure there's another train coming in a minute." So we walk around the corner, and right there are these two missionary dudes, a couple of Mormon missionaries. And we're just like, "Elders, what's up? How you guys doing? What's going on?" And they were so happy to see some Americans, and we chatted. You got Elder Piper here, he's from Idaho Falls, and you got Elder Young there, and he's from Farmington, Utah. So we just started talking to them, asking them how their mission is, you know, the mix up about the train station, why we got off the train, and they were waiting. They just finished transfers or something with their mission president, and then they were going to be going down to their city, which is like an hour south of the city of Florence. So we said, "Well, what are you guys doing right now?" And we're just taking the train, then we're gonna go home. Like, "Why don't you come to lunch with us? Come on, we'll get off the train at the next stop, we'll drop our bags at our hotel and meet up with my brother and we'll all go to lunch." And they were like, "Oh," they were so humble and so nice. They didn't want to do that. They didn't want to impose on us. I'm like, "Dude, just come on, just come to lunch with us. It's not a big deal. We'll just buy you lunch." I'm like, "What are you?" No, we don't want to impose. We really couldn't do that to you." So humble, so gracious, so nice. I was like, "Look, guys, come on, come get some lunch. What are you going to do anyway? What are you doing right now?" And they said, "Well, actually, we're just going to take the train home and have some lunch." I'm like, "Okay, good. Come with us." So they did. We got on the train. We rode the next stop down. Got off the train. There was my brother. We jumped in a big cab. We went over to our hotel. Dropped our luggage, and then we asked the concierge guy, for a nice restaurant right there. We're staying in this really, really cool part of the city, right on that river. If you know it, it's got that gold bridge, that Vecchio, whatever it is, and it's a really cool part of town. And then the restaurant was really nice, and it was like on the water, and it's a little bit fancy, not fancy, but a little bit fancy. And the missionaries were just like, "No, we really couldn't eat in here. This is too nice." We're like, "Dudes, it's our pleasure. Come on, let me buy you lunch." So we finally get in and get them to sit down, and then they did not want to order anything. They were like trying to get like a little $5 sandwich or something. Like, "Come on, dudes, eat, order something." And they were looking around at it, and I said, "Doesn't this happen to you a lot?" And they said, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean? You don't eat in restaurants like this?" They said, "No, we never eat in restaurants like this." I'm like, "What?" And I asked Elder Piper, I said, "How long you been out?" He said, "Like 22 months. I said, "You've never sat down in a restaurant in Italy like this?" He said, "No." And Elder Young had been out for like 8 months, and he had never been in a restaurant like that. And it was so neat just to kind of see their faces because they were so humble and they were so happy. But they didn't want to order anything expensive. I literally had to force them to order something nice off the menu. They didn't want to spend the money. They didn't want to spend my money. Anyway, we had this great talk with them. They were so nice, so sweet, so humble. They're just really neat guys. And so I thought maybe if any of you out there, my friends, I got a lot of Mormon friends and I know a lot of people from Utah. If any of you know Elder Young, his father is a tax attorney in Farmington. And it was Mother's Day yesterday, and so if any of you know Elder Young, you should call his parents and tell him what a neat guy he is. And this Elder Piper dude, you should call, his parents are up in Idaho Falls. If you know Elder Piper in Idaho Falls, you should call his parents, send him a note, send him a message, and just tell them that they're representing themselves and their church and their country really well. Gosh, I didn't know, I wasn't gonna it's just they were so humble and they were so nice. And you know what? You did a great job raising these boys. And I kept telling this Piper guy, I'm like, I want you to marry my daughter. And then I got thinking about it. I got 2 daughters. I'd be happy if either one of these guys married one of those. Either one of my daughters would be lucky to marry into those families. And then it just got me thinking about, like, you know, why did I get off the train? Like, I'm not some kind of big, like, religious guy or something like that. So don't paint me with that brush. But I knew that was the wrong train station, because I'd been to Florence before, so I knew that was the wrong station. But I got off anyway, and it just made me think about, like, maybe getting off the train at the wrong station is the best thing you could ever do. And I was gonna write this out and stuff, and I'm a little embarrassed now that I got a little emotional on it, but I didn't want to wait and like take a long time writing a big story, and so I thought I would just jump and say a quick video. I was just going to give these guys a quick shout out, but maybe you could, if you know them or if you know their parents, maybe you could tell their parents how nice I thought they were and how gracious they were and how well behaved and how happy I was to spend that time, my son and my brother and the elders having that nice meal. It was awesome. I had a great trip. We got home yesterday. Oh, by the way, I know you probably think I'm making this up. We went from Florence to Pisa, and we were taking the cab over to the Leaning Tower. And I kid you not, this was like the next day or whatever. We're going, or 2 days later, we're going, and we're on the bridge. And I look in front of us, and there's these 2 bikes, and there's the girls that are wearing dresses, riding the bikes, are riding together, and they're wearing dresses. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I just stick my head out the window, I'm like, sisters! And these 2 girls turn around. And I'm telling you, it was like, I can't believe this. And they're like, hi. And they were so, again, just the neatest. I didn't get their names. We're in traffic. I'm sorry, I can't tell you who they were. One of them looks exactly like a cute Mary Ingalls from the Little House on the Prairie show. These big blue eyes. And they were in Pisa. And they were so cute and so sweet. I went by the one girl and said, listen, have a good time on your mission. They probably thought we were crazy. Well, I am crazy. But they probably thought we were crazy. Anyway, good dose of the Mormon Missionaries for you up there in Florence, Italy. Elder Young and Elder Piper, and then a little shout out to the sisters down in Pisa. A brown-haired one, and then like a blondie with blue eyes. Really cool missionaries. I guess that's the end of the story.